Hello, good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Happy you're indoors, right? What's going on with this weather outside? It's a lot better than it was a couple days ago, though, so we're happy for that. Welcome to the second day Design Viewpoint series hosted by the American Society of Interior Designers in partnership with High Point Marketing. I am Joseph Cephas. I'm the Vice President of Communications and Brand Experience at ASID headquarters based out of Washington, D.C. If you like what you hear today, please visit our website, asid.org. Our organization is all about communicating design impacts lives and the impact that your design has on the human experience within the built environment. So if you like what you hear, please become a member. I know we have plenty of members in the audience today, so hello to the family. So today we're actually going to tackle a topic that is very needed. There's so much technology, so many resources out there that we need to hear from the people that actually use them every day. So today we're going to touch on tech tools, reviews from the designers who use them. Leading this conversation is Luann Nigera. She is the host of A Well-Designed Business, the podcast, and the co-owner of WindowWorks. Please give her your attention. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today, everybody. We're so happy to see all of you with us, and we're very anxious to share all this knowledge in these four brains right next to me. So I'm going to introduce them to you. I'm going to start on the end with Corey Damon Jenkins. Hi, Corey. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So I'm sure you know who all of these people are, but I'll give you a little rundown. Corey Damon is from Detroit and New York City, luxury interior designer. He has been on the podcast, as a matter of fact. Shared an outstanding story on the podcast, his road to success. Not always a straight and right down the line road, right? Like all of us, though, right? That's the cool thing about it. So thank you so much, Corey, for being with us. Miss Kelly Ellis. Alrighty, Miss Kelly Ellis is an interior designer, TV star. Well, Corey's TV star too. The heck with it, right?
Same network.
That's right. That's it. Kelly's business is out of Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and the OC. And, you know, she's our resident rock star, okay, right? We have Phyllis Harbinger here. Phyllis Harbinger is out of New York City. Phyllis Harbinger is an interior design business coach as well as an interior designer. One smart lady, that's all I can tell you about that, okay? And then we have Laura Thurman. Laura Thurman is an interior designer out of Nashville. And she is our baby designer on the group, but up and coming. And I met Laura about a year and a half ago. Had a conversation with her, and I knew this lady was going places. So you're going to find that out too. Alrighty, so today we are going to talk about technology and the different tools that these individuals use to run their firm. As we all know, that it is incredibly important at the beginning of your business to set your systems up. Because if you want to reach the level that these individual people have, where you have multiple projects, multiple employees, millions of dollars on the line. If you don't lock it down when you are young and new and starting and get things aligned, it gets very hard to duplicate and grow and scale your business. So we thought we'd help you figure out how to make some choices on how to do exactly that. So each of these designers actually run their core business on a different platform. So Laura is using Ivy. Phyllis is using Design Manager. Kelly is using My Doma Studio. And Corey Damon is using Studio Webware, correct?
Right.
Okay. So what I would love for each of you to do is give us a minute, 2 minutes on some of the top features of the platform that you're using and the reason that after doing your investigation into the different platforms or however you came to select the platform, why you settled on that platform. So, Laura, you want to start with it first?
I think one of the first things you need to think about in choosing a platform to run your business is what are you hoping to get out of it. Each of these offers something a little different. They all do very similar things, but they're sort of experts in something specific. So for Ivy, they're really very big on community. They're community driven. So whether you're a seasoned or a new designer, if you're looking to have a community around you, then Ivy is great for that. There's a lot of knowledge exchange, whether it's contracts, pricing, I need advice for this, I'll upload this photo, everybody, where can I find this wholesale? So there's a lot of knowledge exchange. That's one of the biggest benefits. They also have an app, so you can manage your work on the go, which I really like. And although it may be the youngest software on the panel, I think that's actually a positive. That's one of the highlights, is that they really listen to the user. So if there's a feature or something you want to see implemented, it will probably happen, possibly in the next several months. I myself have suggested a few upgrades or tools, and then I'll see it in the next coming months. So the use of the platform is not positive. I see it as a positive.
Okay, awesome. All right, and Phyllis, tell us about Design Manager.
So I was one of the first users of Design Manager. When it first came out, they came to Radio City Music Hall and introduced it. And I put it on my computer, which was brand new. I didn't even know really how to use one. And so, yeah, I'm really dating myself now. So I loved it because it was software designed for a designer versus Quicken and QuickBooks at that time. And they had a lot of support as far as helping someone who wasn't technologically advanced to get used to using the software. And I've always used it throughout my career. I didn't look at anything else because it wasn't broke, and I believe if something's working for me, I don't have time to then go out and find something else if I have something that's really great for me. And what I've found over the years is that they've really been very, very supportive, not just in terms of technology support, but in terms of the growth of my business. When I wrote my book, they jumped in and wanted to do a webinar and host it and promote, and then they introduced me to another business opportunity. So I have the community on the other side with regard to the platform that I use. And anytime that I think there needs to be a tweak, I talk to them, and again, they'll listen as well. But it's a great product. I think its biggest comp is Studio Webware. They're very similar in many ways. But for me, it's just been a really, really great experience.
Okay, thank you, Phyllis. Kelly?
Yes, so I use my Doma Studio. I actually used these two programs first. Not to be disparaging, but I am such a simpleton sometimes and super visual. So I wanted to find a platform that was very intuitive, that was very easy to use. I'm one of the first users of my Doma Studio, and again, also very new. So as we make suggestions and change things, I love that it's happening, where you get the, I love that program, I think it's so pretty. Does it have, and now I can say yes to every single feature. The thing that my Doma really sets apart for me is that I'm always coaching interior designers and have for years. If you've ever heard of Design Camp or any of the design masterminds, I've been doing that for a very long time, coaching designers about business. And one of the biggest things that I'm always jumping up and down and raving about is mailbox money. Who wants mailbox money? Who wants to stop working? Who wants to, make money while you sleep? Well, that's what I want. So continuity is a big thing, and what was beautiful about my Doma for me is that they created ways that you can create projects, or that you can send out digital packages to your clients and be able to offer up online design or e-design programs and packages. So it does everything that everyone else does as well, but it creates a platform for you to create different ways of selling so that you're not only as good as your car will take you. We're all looking for ways to expand and be a little bit further and reach further than we currently are. So that was the beauty of the program for me.
Terrific, terrific.
Yeah.
Corey Damon?
So Studio Webware for our firm came about as a result of a near mutiny with my staff. So I have an all-female staff, and they literally came into my office one day and they said, listen, all these multiple different programs we're using to get various functions done for the firm are not working as efficiently for us. We feel that we're doing a lot of, double and triple the workload for something that could be done once or twice. And so I always encourage my team to be as efficient as possible, one-stop shop type experience. And so I told them we'll start, researching out a better, platform for us. And so the consensus was Studio Webware, because it seemed to be a choice that satisfied the executive assistant, the design team, the accountant, we have to keep our accountants happy, and also our clients. We need a method of communication that all 4 of those groups of people could use to interface with one another in a seamless, transitional way that kept the business flowing quickly, efficiently, and with a lot less red tape in terms of turnaround for answers from our vendors, from our manufacturers, and from our clients. So we've had great success with it. I have definitely seen more efficiency with the production of our team in-house. Our clients adore it because they can communicate with us, approval for it for various matters, quickly, even through apps on their phones. And like I said earlier, for our accountants, when it comes time to our quarterly statement development for the government with taxes and all of that, I don't want to be involved with any of that stuff. It's just like, I'm a creative that makes all the hair I have remaining fall out of my head. And so for Amy and her team, they can go in there and look at what my design team is purchasing and get a good consensus of what's been done that quarter and also for the year. And at the end of the year, I can look at what everyone's done and know what we can do as far as raises and for improvements and for other things the firm needs. So it's been a real blessing for us so far.
Very nice, very nice. So in the opening statements, I mentioned how it's very important for a even very new interior design firm to establish their systems and run it as though they were already a big firm and the anticipation of being a big firm. Whether the goal is to do that or not, right? The goal is always efficiency. So which one of you would like to talk about, I know, and I'm sure the 2 of you too, who also coach interior designers, I know that one of the things that a designer will often ask me is, I'm just a solo. First of all, we learned yesterday we don't like the word just in front of anything that we say about ourselves, right? So I'm a solo designer. I don't actually have a desire to get larger. I don't have a desire to have a big team. Or I don't see that right now. It might be far away. So I still believe, tell me how you feel about it, one of you, all of you, about the need, even when it feels like it's overkill, to stop your business, figure out how to run a platform, you know what I'm saying? Because it takes time to just stop and put time aside to learn a platform that you're not familiar with. But talk about if you think the value is there in doing that and why.
Well, I think that it's important for all of us as individual entrepreneurs and business owners to be what I call recession-proof. So we just came out of a recession in 2007, 8, and 9, and many of us knew what it was like to see our profits drop because of what was happening in our country here in America. So we need to make sure that we are not caught with our pants down next time, because there will be a next time. That's just the way how our economy works is very cyclical, and so it will happen again. The amount, how bad it will be, who knows, but it will happen again. So whether you are a solo designer or a design firm, we need to have technology in place to help us run our businesses efficiently so that we're making money and profit even when opportunities are lessened by the economy around us. And that's where planning in advance of that situation with good technology can help you be ready for that event, should it if it happens.
I was a solo designer up until 3 years ago. So everything I've done has been me. You're looking at it, the marketing, the PR, the everything. The shows, pitching, all of it. And so, but think about it, even if you're not using one of these programs now, you're still doing something like this. It might be 5 different things. QuickBooks over here, and then, a spreadsheet over here, and trying to keep track of everything. So you are still doing something, or you're not paying taxes, then we don't want to know. Don't tell us. Totally fine. It's totally fine. Just don't tell me about it. But I'm not a mandatory reporter or anything like that. But you're doing, I am a spy. You're doing something now to try to keep yourselves organized. And so it doesn't matter if it's you, 10 of yous, 30 of yous, 40 of yous. You want to find a platform, like all of our platforms, I assume, that can communicate with just yourself or with everyone on your team. You want to have that interface and your clients. It's just, even if it's just between you and your clients, I know with my Doma, I can send out the contract, they can sign it, it's all in one place. I can send out proposals, they look at it, they approve it, it's all in one place. Everything's in one place. And so for that reason alone, you want to have everything in one spot. Your invoices, can you collect credit cards with your program? I can. Can you send out the POs and get those approved? I can. Like everything's in one spot, so you have to consider that no matter what, even if it is just you. Not just, even if it's you, the one and only. It's really important, so you can consolidate all of those great things you're trying to speak to each other right now that probably don't.
And I started my business 25 or 6 years ago, and I was a solo practitioner, and I brought in people, virtual people when virtual wasn't a word, but that's how I managed
Remote
to do
employees,
it.
right?
Yes, remote employees, yes, the pajama crew. So that was really fun. And I always wanted to know what could I do to be more efficient. That's just been part of my nature always. So I think that if you stop learning, you're done. You have to keep learning, and you have to keep looking at what's out there that could improve your productivity, your efficiency. And also your clients want to know what you're doing. Because if you've got a lot of technology behind you, that might give you an edge over a competitor that they're interviewing. So I really highly recommend you constantly learn, research, and take the free, trials of things that you're interested in and just explore them, because it really might change your business.
I'll just say quickly, as someone who's used all of the different platforms up here, and is probably the least amount of years in business, I didn't see it so much as a need. I didn't see the need for technology simply because I was by myself, or now I have a staff. I thought also about where the projects were going to go down the road. So even if you plan to stay solo, what if you take on bigger projects, more robust, or more high-end, more expensive? I mean, you need to be ready quickly to present, to be prepared, to show that you have it together, and really the technology will help you consolidate and keep things tight. So it's not just about staff. I think you can also look at it from the perspective of your actual client projects and how those may grow and evolve throughout your business.
That's an excellent point. Good for you. So here's the thing. We all know that, I mean, are you convinced that you need a platform? I mean, do I have to keep going on that, right? But the thing is, once we have agreement that it is the most efficient, most productive way to run our firm by putting it on some platform, the next step isn't as easy as, hey, just go pick a platform. It takes time, right, to invest in putting 10 minutes a day, an hour a day, 3 hours a week. You have to learn it. Then if you do have even one admin, one design assistant, tell us a little bit about the learning curve, because I think that, I know that, forget I think, I know that it's not rocket science, that every single person in this room is capable of learning any one of these platforms, but it's the onerous job of doing that puts us off. I mean, I don't want to learn how to use the remotes on my TV because it's too hard. You know what I mean? Like, Vin, change the channel, like, right? So tell us a little bit about, literally, 2 days, 3 days, 20 minutes, 5 hours. Give us the lowdown on that.
Well, the software Ivy, I feel, is super user intuitive. The biggest thing I would look at is also the interface of the software. I mean, we're all visual, and for me, that was like a major selling point. If I don't like the way it looks, I am not going to hang out on there and get myself organized. That's just the truth. So, I mean, it sounds superficial, but that's just what it is. So I felt like I really need to see a clean, easy to navigate software. I want to be able to see a lot of videos and tutorials. If I have to call the company every time to get a question answered, next, I'm moving on. So Ivy has a slew of just quick, pithy, to the point tutorials. You have an account manager who can screen share and then show you it that way. So that was very helpful. That's what I did when I first signed up. We screen shared and I could kind of see. But then the questions you have at night when they're closed, so to speak, that's what YouTube and all the videos are for. So I would look there, like look at the software and then try to find tutorials or videos that are going to teach you how to use it. And if you don't understand those, it might be hard for you to really commit to that software. So I'm pretty tech savvy, and as I said, I've used all of these platforms at any given time, either by myself or when I was working for a designer. And Ivy was the easiest to learn. So maybe, I don't know, maybe a week, a couple hours every day, just sort of putzing around, looking at tutorials, and then the initial screen share was really helpful.
Okay. Would you guys agree? Similar curve, week, every day?
No. I found my demo really, really simple. In fact, when you first sign up, it's extremely intuitive, very clean, not a bunch of extra stuff. And then as soon as you sign up, a video pops up with the step-by-step of what to do. So it's in the lower screen, and you just pop in and follow along. It was dumb easy, sorry, but it really was. And I was not wanting to set up, because I have used a couple other platforms here, and I am very visual. I see it to be clean and simple. Remember the days when there weren't windows? You're like, please just give me windows. I just want little pictures. That's all I want. And it's like our phones, I just want a quick, simple picture, and I know what I'm looking for. Same idea. I like it to be very streamlined, very simple, and this was really, really easy. I mean, an hour, and you have your stuff set up, and not difficult at all.
Okay.
I think it's ongoing. I did the training, it's ongoing. I'm always pushing my
Always
team
get deeper
to.
layers.
Yeah, because these softwares have so many capabilities that you only begin scratching the surface once you start using them. And then we're discovering that this little button here does this, and then this does that, and this can make this particular process even easier than what we thought. There are multiple maps to the same destination, but sometimes there are shortcuts that we didn't realize were under our fingertips in the very beginning. We only get there by kind of putzing around with it and just experimenting and playing with it. So I encourage my team, to have the permission to indulge. Our accountant will discover something that made her job so much easier, and then that tabulates over to what Holly's doing and what Aldora is doing. It just trickles down, and then now suddenly everyone took out like 10 steps out of their process for this one chain of command for this one process of the firm. So as long as you're open to continuously learning and improving and indulging yourself and exploring the software, then the possibilities to learn more are limitless.
Yeah, and my learning curve goes back so many years, but the people on my team that have come in and used the software, one of the things I love are the continued webinars. We get emails with, hey, what's new, and to explore different aspects and parameters of the program. Those are really helpful to me as well. But because of my age, I like getting on a phone with someone. That's more fun for me than searching for a video. So that's my thing, and I love that I have that connection that I can call and say, hey, can you get on my screen with me? Because I don't know what's going on here. Right. And that means a lot to me to have that really, really great live support.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure they all have that.
Right? Yeah.
But, it's just, it's wonderful. Get on my screen, show me, because if I can see it being done, then I can do it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I either need that person there or I need that person there.
Right, or on my team, exactly.
How to make this work.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not like video, no, right, okay, but it is, I think it's generational.
It is.
I think most of the platforms know that. So you have the place you can
the option
call,
for
you've got
both,
the
right.
person popping up in the corner, you've got
They
the
all
live
have it.
chat,
Yes.
you've got it,
Yeah.
and they know that. I mean, that's pretty smart across the board, right?
Yeah, definitely. So let's cross over to the other side of it. I think it's pretty clear that a customer service customer management platform is important for your firm, okay? But that's for internal. That's for, as Corey said, to be able to hit a button and know where we are year to date, end of year with our income and our P&L and all that stuff. It's important so that you know if a team member has put in the selections, right? Phyllis, if you're home at 10 o'clock at night, you can go into your platform probably and see if your junior designers have accomplished the tasks that you've asked them to do. You can go into the projects, right? Okay, so these are all outstanding reasons for this, because we are all busy and we don't necessarily run our business between 9 and 5. Tell me about what happens when you go from being not on a platform, not with this device and not with this technology, and you used to do a proposal or a communication with a client, and now your communication comes through a platform. See, look at this.
We're all shaking our heads going,
right? Like if that impacts your business as well, right? This professionalism, right? So
I got so well versed in the PowerPoint. I mean,
where you put in
wow.
Excel spreadsheets in
Yeah.
your PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Pictures in there make it look really chic.
Totally.
Yeah, it
It'd be
was
like
so
this,
chic.
I'm so professional. I have a watermark in the bottom of every page of my PowerPoint.
Did you use colors? I
Oh,
use
yeah.
colors. I
It
use
was
colors.
great. It was great. So,
I
yeah.
used to handwrite my purchase orders
Yeah.
because there was no other way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were the old days.
Right?
Yeah.
very old.
Kind of
I mean, but
cringy.
this is another very important component, particularly if you are starting out. It lends a level of credibility.
Right,
It lends a
absolutely.
level of I'm a big girl with my big girl panties on. I got this going on, right?
I don't wear panties, but yeah.
Or yeah. I got my DVDs. We're good.
Boxers on.
Yeah, the boxers on, yeah. But I would say too that even for our clients, you know, we have to remind ourselves that the entire world around us is also evolving. So our clients are used to seeing more interactive communication. Our vendors at the various design centers and the showrooms, they're also using software. It's easy for them to approve something on their computer screens. And our suppliers, you know, so we have to keep up what's happening around us and be in lock and step with technology around the world.
I think you want to be sensitive that, you know, you're not being difficult to work with because you're so behind the times. This was a big deal for me with the receiving warehouse. Like once you have a big project and you actually need to ship things to a receiving warehouse and you're not doing drop ship anymore, it's like, whoa, who is tracking all of that stuff? And I want to say, I know it's there, please check again, it's there, it says it was delivered on X date, I have it in my little sheet. Like all those little details, and yeah, I mean, in the beginning, things kind of fell through the crack on my end until I was like, I had to really tighten it up and get it organized, so.
And in any business, but especially this business, it truly is all in the details.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think this is one of the most detail-oriented professions you could ever be.
Front facing and back facing.
Oh,
All the
yeah.
details and the beauty and the design that you create,
Yes.
but all the details on the back and managing all of
That the client has no idea
Yeah,
about.
they don't.
No, and how about this? How about, you know, probably fully 80% of us are not necessarily detail-orientated people to begin with, right?
Right.
We're big picture people, we're visionary people,
Right.
and that all that stuff is very difficult to
Right.
just wrap your brain around.
Right brain, left brain.
Well, that's
Right.
why we're coaching. And there's
Yes.
constantly that business component that doesn't necessarily
Exactly.
come with school,
Yeah.
right? Or you just want to make things pretty and call it a day.
Right.
And we know that happens in the first 25%. You get it all down on paper. In fact, you probably designed it in your head as you were walking out the door. And it's done in your head. Now you got to do a little sourcing, put it together pretty, and then you have 75% of follow-up, install, all of it. And that's not the fun part that we don't love that part of it unless you're extremely organized and switching inside of your brain. So you do have to walk a middle line and cover it all. Make sure it
And
all
the thing
happens.
about it is, it's that part of it, that 75% of it, that creates the client experience,
Exactly.
that
Yes.
creates the repeat client and the referral to her friend. The 25% of you made a pretty room, that's given. That's expected, that you are going to deliver a pretty room. But how do you deliver that pretty room, right? And it's by being locked down, in step, you know where something is, it's at the receiver, it's on its way, not like, I'm not sure.
Right.
I can't even find the paperwork with where I did the order, right?
Right.
And sometimes when you're out in the field, you know, because it's all cloud-based now, and authentic, I kicked and screamed to the cloud, they made me go. But now I'm very happy that they did.
It's in the clouds.
Because
So happy.
it's just amazing what we can pull down when a vendor is saying, no, and I'm like,
No, it's right.
here, it's
Right
right
here.
here, I'm screenshotting it now,
Yeah,
and I'm sending it right over to you.
Right.
Here's proof.
Right.
And that is huge.
And the thing is, it's at your fingertips.
At
Right.
your
Yeah.
fingertips.
Because everybody here that doesn't have a
Huge.
technology platform would have that in a
Yes.
fax or
Yes.
an email
All
or
of these.
some crazy place, right?
Correct.
But when you have it on your platform, it's at your fingertips when you need it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, well, I feel like a lot of times designers, you know, as creatives, you know, many of us are not A-types or, analytically driven people. So we'd be thinking about, you know, auditing ourselves with our businesses, our numbers, just in case we do, God forbid, get audited. You know, so we have to make sure we have at our fingertips that information. Depending upon what style of designer you are, even more so, because for me as a more traditionalist, as a designer, I can't just design a pillow. I have a pillow with a bullion fringe, and I have a contrasting fabric on the front, something that's different on the back. Every one of those elements has a SKU number and a price point and a markup for our clients, and then the shipping and the freight costs, and then all that, Studio Webware tracks all of those individual details to tell me exactly not only what the overall cost of that pillow was, but also how much did I make as a firm on that particular sale. If you do a whole room or a 15,000 square foot home full of pillows like that and furniture like that, all the more. So even if you're a more modern designer, it's more or less is more, you still have to have a place to track all of those SKUs because we are a very detail-oriented industry.
Cross-checks, and more cross-checks. That's
Well,
what it is.
Yeah, you're right, and that is how you know if you made a profit anywhere. I mean, think about the first few things that you put together and you're like, wow, I just broke even on that whole project. Awesome.
Yeah.
Because if you've switched over, like many designers have, to a flat fee basis, which is great, then you're looking at things even more intently, right? That you really have to be aware of your hours. Like I know, I'm sure most of your programs can do that, do a time tracker.
Yes.
Yep, you have to have that time tracker as well. But it's really important that you know if you are going to do a flat fee that you have not completely gone upside down in your hours and your time and your billing, and it's those things and then you can improve. Did you change it? You make the tweaks. If you don't have that information, it's really difficult to know if you're making any money.
I only like working in the red when I'm doing a red room.
Okay, take that quote down.
Yes.
That's what it is. That is hashtag of the day. Business quote of the day. I love it.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Kelly, my Doma Studio has
Yes.
tracking, our
Yes.
tracking. Do the other three
Yes.
all have it? Okay, that is very important. I would tell you that's worth the money right there.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yep.
Because we all know you add, what is Claire Jefford in the room? Claire Jefford is a business coach, and she has a thing where she says, you add 1 hour a week to your billing at $100 an hour, even if that's what you're charging, and you times that by 50 weeks a year. I can't do the math on that, if anybody can. I'm gonna say, so 5,000, 50,000, I have no idea, but it's a lot of change, that's all I'm saying. So if your platform is tracking your hours, and even if you have that whole agita and that angst of, I did 7 hours and I'm gonna bill 5, or I'm gonna bill 4, that's a whole other problem that you have to sign up for one of us.
That's a whole other panel discussion.
Okay? But I'm just saying, if you think you did 5 and you only billed 3, what if you really did
8
and you only billed 3? Like, grab that 1 hour, do 8 and bill 4, baby steps, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not,
It's great advice.
Okay, so here's the thing, we have 10 minutes left until we have 15 minutes for questions, okay? So in the last 10 minutes, what I would love for you to do, would each of you share possibly, if there's something that's truly valuable to you, one other piece of technology that you believe in and feel like really enhances your life as an interior designer that you could share with your colleagues?
I would say SketchUp.
Okay.
My staff loves SketchUp. Sometimes I have to tell them to focus on other things, and they get so lost in the SketchUp world. And I'm like, okay, come back to just get it done. I want to get this pitch, to a client. But for our clients and for our staff, it has become the most beautiful thing for them to use. It's been around for a while, obviously, but for our clients who are, again, so visually driven, they really want to see to believe, because we're asking to spend literally sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars on these projects. They want to know, what am I investing my money into? And so by sketching it up, whether it be a whole room rendering or a piece of furniture or a light fixture, it's great, even for product development. When it comes to our licensing collaborations, sketching things out, using these platforms or these technological platforms like SketchUp gives our industry partners a vision that goes far beyond even what a CAD drawing or some sort of sketch would do by hand. So I really love the power, the continued power of SketchUp.
Very good. Kelly?
I have other people do SketchUp for me. And I have other people do the 3D rendering for the furniture design. But for me, if I need to put together something by myself, say 2 o'clock in the morning, I know none of you work at those weird hours. Nobody does that for me.
We're all
I'm
sound
sure.
asleep, Kelly.
Yeah, sound asleep while getting your beauty rest. But I use Room Styler. So for me, that is super simple to get a really good, clean 3D, 4D, even 5G photo of a room. Almost zero learning curve. It's dumb easy. You like I say that a lot? I like dumb easy. That's just for me. If it's just dumb easy, I want to do it. And then I can pop that into my studio and then be able to share those images very, very quickly, and then they can sign off on them very, very quickly. So it interfaces really, really well with my Outlook. So that's for me, that's my tool. The stuff that takes longer and is beautiful, that you can do a walkthrough of the room and do a virtual reality of the room. With SketchUp, personally, not super well versed at it, but those are tools that we use within the company to make things awesome.
Anything for you, Phyllis?
Yeah, well, so I like to think of my unique brilliances, and technology is not that. However, I have found this tool which just won a really fabulous award. It's called 3Dazer, the number 3Dazer.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it's a measuring tool. It's a laser measuring tool with a 1/16 inch accuracy. And you can get your survey done so incredibly quickly, pop up elevations and plans, and it's just a really terrific tool. And if anybody is interested, see me afterward, because I have special incentives for you. It's just great. I love
So
it.
it's a physical laser
It's a
measure,
physical
but it's
laser.
just
You can put it in your purse.
regeneration?
It's in a little pouch. It goes into, you have an app on your your iPhone, and it is terrific.
I like that.
So-
It's really cool.
We need
It's
it.
really cool. Yeah, it'll help you. It does the rendering for you.
Yes.
So once you've
Yeah.
done all the measurements, I'm glad you mentioned it, because I love
So
it too.
good.
Yeah. And then it helps you put the rendering together, and then you can pop that, send it over to your people, and they can elaborate on it. But at least you have that first initial measuring, which we all know, because you're always calling somebody to measure something for you, right?
That sounds hot.
It is hot.
Yeah. we should like give them out. Like, you get a 3Dazer, you get a 3Dazer.
Everyone goes home with a room gauger. Look under your chairs, the room gauger waiting for you. Psych, it's not gonna happen.
We should have thought about that.
People are looking.
And also, your clients are so impressed if they happen to be home when you're surveying.
yeah. Oh my gosh,
They're
the
like,
laser.
what
Love the
is
laser."
that? And
Yeah.
I've used it even on consultations just to get square footage
yeah.
so I can quote the job.
So impressed.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It is amazing. It's awesome.
How about
3Dazer.
Yeah.
3Dazer.
DAZER. And it comes in a beautiful
It
box.
is.
It's very well designed.
It is very well.
I would use a software, cloud-based software called Monday.com. And I say that because all these softwares are doing the project management, but none of them that I know of actually track what phase you are in a project. Like how are you tracking where you are in a project? Like we're in concept, we're ordering, we're procuring.
No, yeah, we
Did
do
we
that.
give out a thank you gift? Blah, 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 you know, the whole list. So I use Monday for blog post ideas, for notes, to-do lists. I can see the percentage of how much a task has been completed, who the task is assigned to. Every time we do a new project, we have a template that we copy and paste, and you just kind of check off the list as you go along. So that's been really invaluable to my junior designer and I to stay organized, and not just about the product and POs and all that, but all the other stuff, like where you are on your timeline of the project. And I think the free version is pretty robust. That's what I'm using now. I think there's a paid version, but the free one is really good. And I'll just quickly say, we can get really burnt out in this industry very fast. And I try to find tools to really inspire me and to inspire my interns or my staff. And one that I really like, it's like a little online class, and it's called How to Create a Well-Structured Mood Board. And the creator is Goody Hera, and she is a trend style expert. That's what she does. And I just love the conceptual concept building of a project, and so it's difficult to kind of communicate that to my staff, and that's what this class does. So we all know what a mood board is, but it is a very in-depth look at how to take, you know, the language that your client is communicating and really turn that into something tangible and beautiful for them. It's just very inspiring, so I use that. That's invaluable.
So I was going to move on, but I have a question. Because of course, that brings something up.
Yeah, so if you go on like Venmo, Vimeo is the platform that it's on. But if you Google how to create a well-structured mood board by Goody Hera, so it's Gudy, and I think the last name is Here. And I think it's like $70 for the class, and then you own it for life, and you can download it and have it on your computer. But anyone who walks through the office and stays with me, every intern I've ever had, that's like mandatory, like you need to watch this. And it's it really helps, it helps, it's great. I love it.
So I have one follow-up question before we switch gears here. Are you saying that you cannot create the mood board in the platform? Because I understand, I know MyDoma at the
Yeah,
very
no,
least,
this is
right?
just
Just to teach you
educational.
how
This
to
is
do
teach
a
you
beautiful
to-
mood board.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is a more in-depth
Okay.
look on not just a collage of pretty photos, but something that's to communicate your concepts more clearly. This is strictly informative and educational for you internally. You're not creating a mood board on this
Okay,
platform.
okay.
I would
okay,
do that in
understood.
Photoshop or Illustrator.
Okay, and then one final question I forgot to bring up. I know for a fact, I mean, if you know who I am, you know that I'm aligned with Krabbit, okay? And MyDoma, as a matter of fact. But I know for a fact that curated Krabbit product lives in the MyDoma site so that you can source your product right there,
Right.
use it and so forth. Do the other platforms have that ability to pull product in, like your favorites? Like I love these 5 sofas and I use them over and over again and they live somewhere in the site. I don't know the answer to that. How does that work?
So you can create a library of the products you've specified that live permanently. So when you go to a next project, if you love it, you're going to pull it. All the specs and the SKUs are in there for that. But if you're talking about a vendor being integrated into the platform itself instead of going to their website, I'm going directly to, I'm using Universal within my platform. I don't know that it does that yet. I think that's kind of percolating, but you can absolutely save every single thing you've ever used on a project, and you have created your own library.
Then they're there to use again. But
Yeah.
Kelly, you
Yes.
have this whole access to this whole
Correct,
line right there.
So MyDoma's created partnerships,
Mhm.
Krabbit being one of them, and other furniture partners onboarding now, to where it's already there,
Right.
living in the site. And
Right,
you can
so
do
you're not
both.
going in and out.
But you can do both.
You can do both,
So if you
right.
found something at Maison while you were traveling and you pulled it away, you can drop it in there, or they have partnerships within the site to make it really easy to integrate.
Okay, I just thought that was an
Yep.
important thing to understand because, you know. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes, 15 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions? Hey, Lorna, how are you, sweetie?
I'm doing well. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. I have a question for you as principals. What is it that you're doing specifically on your project management software versus your staff?
Okay, so I'll just repeat the question in case everybody doesn't hear. Lorna is asking each of the designers here, as principals, what are they physically doing on the platforms and how much and what are their junior designers or assistant designers doing for them on the platforms?
I am not doing anything.
This is what we aspire to, yay!
I will be very, I
Teach, duplicate, train, yes.
on the planes. No, honestly, I believe that the best manager is one that knows how to delegate.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. Every single woman on my team knows every aspect of the software that they are using. So in other words, if someone quits, gets sick, something else happens, gets pregnant, whatever, the firm will not stop rolling because of the absence of one person. So one thing I am doing is making sure that everyone is trained, and I'm paying for that training, for everyone to understand what is happening with the software. I prefer to focus on client development, the overall design development, getting more business, PR. I'm on the face of the brand. The only thing I will do that I use as a software is Square. That's for running credit cards. I do that. I'm happy to take your credit card and run that card because only the accountants and myself have access to our bank accounts. So my design team, the other executive assistants, they have no access to our banking systems. Only I, as the principal, and my accountant have access to our banking information. So I must be the only one that runs the credit cards. And I'm happy to do that. I love swiping. You know.
Let me physically do it.
Yeah, I do that, but aside from that, I have nothing to do with studio webware. So.
Okay, how about you guys?
I will put the initial, obviously, programming, because I really love doing the client and then putting the picture, because what we can create, which is so nice, is what the client will see. So it's very tailored. It has their name, it has a photo of their house, it has some of the pictures before. They can add pictures onto it if they want to, the client, and then the junior designers. And everyone else that you bring in, they can have certain access as well. So they can see everything, only part of it. So I like to do the initial, delegate, then you're gonna do this part, you're gonna do this part, you're gonna do the SketchUp, I'll add the room styler if I'm up at 2 a.m., whatever that is. But I have to be part of it a little bit and obviously oversee what's happening. If it's not part of the vision, then obviously that's not gonna work. And then of course you can do your charging right in the program. I like to see what got swiped. Yeah,
Okay, so
when
you can collect the money through my
collect money
Doma
through my
Studio.
Doma, yes.
Okay.
Collect money.
Okay, how about you, Phyllis?
My staff does most of the input. I also like to put the client in.
Yeah, it's fun.
I just like doing that, and I like having my hands in it. So that's kind of fun for us. But I feel like you really need to look, if you're a solo practitioner, then you need to be involved and in it. But as you grow your business and you become a principal of a firm, you're a leader, and you've got to look at what your unique brilliance is. So kudos to you for letting go and not helicopter managing. I do go in on Fridays and Mondays and run our reports because I want to see where the money is, what's happened that week, what I've got to look at when I get in there Monday morning so that I can say, hey, we need to action on this, we need to do this, what happened here, why wasn't this done? You know, just to kind of get a feel, because you are, at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. So you've got to be prepared for that. So my unique brilliance is looking at that bottom line and getting somebody else to implement it, because that's important.
What's your experience, Laura?
I still do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And my interior designer who's here, I'm training her, so she is doing a lot of the tracking, which I sincerely hate. Sorry. Sorry, Liza. She's doing the tracking. So like, you know, the inputting the client information and creating the initial project. I click send on the invoices and the proposals as of now, but we'll get her there. She'll do that too.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions for, oh yeah, well, there's about 90. Okay, so I don't know how we're going to do this, but just somebody start talking.
Yeah.
It's too. Oh, we have a person on the side.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't see
How
that.
do the 4 platforms compare as far as startup costs and ongoing monthly fees?
Do you guys even remember? Oh, I'm sorry. She's saying, how do the 4 platforms compare with startup costs and ongoing monthly fees? Do any of you remember that at this point?
I don't. I did a yearly plan because
Yeah,
it was
me
such
too.
a great deal.
It's a yearly
Yes, much
plan.
better. Always more cost.
And
Yeah.
it's very cost effective.
Very.
It really is, especially
ROI.
since we went
Especially,
to
I
the
was going to say the
cloud.
ROI, there's no comparison.
Ridiculous.
I don't care if it's
No.
$2,000 a year.
It's not that much.
And
And
we're
we're
not
not even
pays
there.
for it.
Yeah.
I know it's nowhere there,
Nowhere
but I'm
near.
just saying, like,
No.
there's no money on this. It's
And
priceless.
sometimes
It's
there's
like a
different
credit card.
versions too of the
Right.
platform. There's pro versions
Right.
and a lighter weight version, so you can look at that.
Yeah, it's an investment in your firm, whether it feels like a lot of money at your stage of the game or not, but I hope that we have conveyed that I think it's a non-negotiable
No, it's
investment,
mandatory.
whichever one you select, of course, but beyond that, I feel like it's a non-negotiable.
Just bury
It's a
it in
cost
your
of
client's
business.
invoice.
What'd you say?
Roll it into your markup on the fabric and shoot out
That's
there.
right. That's right. Bang.
Roll it up.
Yep.
Get the credit card and swipe the card.
So you see Corey at Market.
Okay, we have somebody with mic here.
If you ever see Corey at Market, just walk by him and go like this.
Go ahead.
So we we're Canadian, and we're using a Canadian software, and we're just in the stage of transitioning. And the impetus for the change is sales and marketing. We cannot extract the data out of our system to support that side. So I'm interested to know if you have any comments about the 4 programs and how they help the sales and marketing side.
My guess is you're looking for like reports on number of inquiries against closes and the profit margins and things like that on each project. Is that what you mean with to support your sales and marketing?
That and being able to take that information and maybe move it into MailChimp. But yes, tracking leads, tracking the
So
process.
building your email list and all of that stuff.
So, right, that's a little complicated. Okay, so yes, each of these platforms offer different types of reports that you can print out, and they're pretty specific to sales, losses, margins, all that. But as far as building the client list and all that. I do that separately on my website platform. I use MailChimp as well. But all the contact information I put into Ivy, and I can export that and then import it into my website newsletter or into MailChimp.
Can the others do that? All you're really doing is getting a database and exporting it into your MailChimp or your
But like your
contact.
clothes, like, you know, a lead that turned into an actual product, all that, I track all that in Monday.com. So I understand, we can talk later, I understand what you're asking. I don't think any of these do exactly what you're saying.
No, I do that in my mail contact also.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I use MailChimp as well.
As far as marketing, when it comes to the cost you may spend to take out an ad in a magazine or to run new business cards, or little promotional cards for show houses, the cost for a publicist to get more business for you, to join a design center's portfolio for recommended designs for the region. You can put all of that in the studio web where it's going to tell you exactly how much it's all costing you per quarter, per year, because it's all tracked to an invoice or some sort of purchase order that my assistant is putting against that. It's an internal order, but it's still an order nonetheless that we can track.
And you can do that with any of these.
And then you can print by category
Yeah.
too. If
Yeah.
you want to run a report, you can print by category.
Yeah.
And then what I would suggest is look at how much you spent on those items yearly as far as marketing, and then look at how many retainers and design fees you procured from those individual outlets. Like for example, if you are asked to spend $800 to be on your local design center's online designer directory program, how many people called you from that directory on your questionnaire? And you should have a questionnaire.
Yes.
Have the person tell you, one of the questions should be, how did you find out about us? Where did you find our information? I saw you on the Michigan Design Center or D&D Buildings Design Center website. Okay, we know that was $800 that we paid for that particular service. You have 6 or 7 inquiries that came from that, and they became actual leads for business that year, and you charged X amount of dollars for design fees. You've more than paid for that $800 investment. So a lot of it's going to be beyond the software and more about just bringing different elements together outside the software to get the answers you're looking for.
Well, within each of the platforms, you can create your own internal business as your own client. So you can create a whole file just like you would for a client for yourself, essentially, and you keep all of those costs, expenses all in one place so that you can compare your ROIs in those different avenues.
So you make your business a project.
Correct.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question?
Yes, I have a quick question for Kelly. If you could just tell me that last word that you were saying, room something.
Room styler.
Room
styler.
Okay,
all one
and
word.
then for Laura, you're saying ID for interior design, right? Is the platform that you're using? Or
IVY.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, anybody else? All right, are you bringing your mic around? Okay.
How do you guys deal with the millions and millions of precedent images that you see from clients and that you get inspired by on social media?
I don't.
Yeah.
I tell my clients that I am there to make them the object of envy of the millions of people in this country when it comes to house.com and Pinterest and all that. Don't show me no designers' work. If you want to hire them, go hire them.
Talk about standing in space.
And I will say this, I set that precedent early on in the conversation.
Oh, that's a great
So
point.
that's not really
I actually like them because it helps me figure out where their head's at. So it's like any research we used to have our clients do a million years ago before there was Pinterest. You're telling them to collect all of the images out of the magazines that they want to like. So they're always going to have them. They've always got these dream lists and boards and dream bedroom, dream bathroom, dream living room, dream. And you're like, okay, stop dreaming. We're like, let's focus. We're right here.
We're
right
going
here.
to make it a reality.
Exactly. So I like it. I get your point 100%, and I'll be like, oh, I know every single one of these people. Awesome. So I'll let them know that you like them, and we're moving on. Yeah. But
I agree with Kelly though. It's helpful for me in my questionnaire. I actually have a link to say, please link your Pinterest and your house board. So I have it all there, and I can kind of filter it through first. But yeah, it's not so much about who it is, more of just the aesthetic and the vibe. I mean, I don't walk out of the consult without knowing the vibe that they want to have in their home, and I get that through the images initially, and then we can move past that quickly.
So then, just to follow up, and I'm not sure if we're out of time here or not, but the thing is, so Interestingly, you have one perspective, the others have a different, but I think the question really goes to how do you monitor how many they bombard you with? Do you just say, look, you're gonna give it to me in the beginning, and then I get the impression that this particular designer is expressing that it's happening all through the project, and it's like,
It
you
does.
then pull the trigger on that.
You do.
Pull the plug on that.
Yeah. So when
You
you
just gotta say no.
Yep, I create a project, I'll create it on my DOMA. They can put images in, but there's a cutoff.
Yeah.
Because after you start making decisions, I know you've had those clients out there that they've made a decision and then they see something else. And then they see something else. And then they ask the gardener. And then they ask the housekeeper. Then they ask the kids what they thought. And you're like,
And
no,
their best friend.
we're done. We're done.
Who went to design school? Not.
Yes, done. So you always have to pull the plug at some point.
I don't typically accept images after the consultation.
No.
There's no need.
I don't either.
So
They
it's
can
just
put
an
that
end
out
there.
first.
I get you, we're moving on. Yeah. After the consult, I don't really see all their.
Yeah, so it goes back to agreements and setting expectations from the beginning. At the beginning, you say, if you want to, I'll accept your images prior to we execute project. After that, stop.
And give them,
right?
give them boundaries, like we have a what to expect when you work with us document that we give them, so they understand, here's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get 2 or 3, different layouts, and then you have 1 revision. If you want more, you're gonna get charged for it. So the
Change
same
order.
thing, and
think
so
that-
just keep them honest, but keep them understanding
On
what
pace.
you are going to give them.
And-
So if you set that expectation in the beginning, then you have your boundaries. And I don't work at 2 in the morning.
My thing is this, if you are their designer, they went to your website and looked at your portfolio. They saw something in you
Right,
for
yeah.
a reason.
Right.
So you're focusing on me as your design doctor. So that's, to me,
Design
so I
doctor.
appreciate
Another
my
one,
colleagues.
design doctor.
Design doctor
Yeah,
has
so I
to.
appreciate my colleagues' position, and there's certainly room to look at other designers' work. But at the end of the day, what did you see in my portfolio that drew you to me?
That's right.
So if they can't find anything in your portfolio,
They're probably
that's
wrong.
then
Well, and
they're
Corey,
the wrong
I'll just
place.
say to you, there's a lot of designers that haven't had the opportunity to build a portfolio yet,
Sure.
so
Right.
so at that beginning stage,
Yeah.
it's probably more important
Absolutely.
to collect the images of other designers' portfolios, correct?
That's fair.
Joseph, are we done? We're done. He's making us leave. I mean, I'm sorry. That's annoying, isn't it? All right, thank you so much, guys. Thank you.